Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome once again to a dreary, overcast River Avon. As you can see, the river looks in great nick, I have to say. It's a sort of greyish colour with a tinge of green to it. There's about 2 foot of visibility. Looks good for a bite, I have to say. But I do also have to say this is the saddest day of the year. It's the last day of the river season and the last few hours. It's about 4 o'clock now. Going to fish into dark just for a few hours. See if we can't winkle some fish out. I mean, I'm thinking primarily chub, to be honest. But happy to catch some fish. It's going to rain. It's just starting to rain. As you can probably hear, the wind is howling once again. What I've done is I've come to the top of the stretch. I'm going to have a wander down, do a few swims. Not going to try and do too many swims. There's not that many swims on this stretch, to be honest, but we'll perhaps try and do 4 swims, something like that. And we'll have a good go in each one. Gear I've got today, I've got my Cadence, what is it, CS5 Reel. That's loaded with 6-pound line, and I've got my John Wilson Avon Quiver with quiver tip on set at 11 foot. I do hope you can hear me alright. As you can probably see from the state of the river, it's really blowing. I'm going to have some breakers, I think, some of the swims. But yeah, I'm going to find the more sheltered spots, I think, and drop a bait in, perhaps with a really small feeder or link ledger, depending on the swim. And yeah, we'll see if we can winkle a chub or 2 out. I've got some liquidized bread with me. That's groundbait mixed with a little bit of cheesy garlic groundbait as well, just to get a bit of smell in the water. I've got some bread, I've got some worms, and I've got some cheese paste as well. So that's the plan. So, without further ado, let's get this rod unpacked. We'll get it set up. I think really I'm going to go on my favourite bit of bread. I think I do like a big lump of bread. As you know, if you've seen any of my roving videos, I do like using a big lump of this Warburton's Finest. If I can get this untangled, or not tangled, unwrapped. There we go. So yeah, it's going to be a mobile session. Do a few swims. Try and keep out of the wind as much as possible so you can hear what's going on. And yeah, right, let's get this feeder on. And we'll get into action. This first swim's a bit awkward. I've got a pallet here, but it's not sort of connected to the bank down here. Not got a great deal of experience of this stretch. Fished it perhaps 3 or 4 times. Certainly not fished all the swims. So probably not the best idea for the last day of the season to be exploring, but I do like a bit of exploring. Things get a bit stale fishing the same old swims all the time. Oh, it's spitting in the rain now. I'd like to take the opportunity as well to say we've got a new patron on board. The channel has a new patron, Nick. Thank you very much, Nick. You're very welcome, and your support is greatly appreciated. So just a big thank you to you and to all the existing patrons as well. As I say, it's just starting to rain. We're going to get on some bread. All waterproofed up, so it won't be a problem. It's not particularly warm, but it's not that cold either. We had a frost the last few nights, so I'm not sure that's going to help, and I wasn't able to get out until now because it's Mother's Day. But I'm out now, raring to go. So let's get this in the water, and hopefully catch some fish. Oh, that wind is strong. As soon as you get above the height of the bank. Now this stretch is on we're on the inside of a bend here. Most of the stretch is on the inside of a bend. So we've got sort of slacker water on the inside and sort of faster water 2/3 of the way across most of the stretch. Okay. See what we can do. Get covered up for now. As I say, we'll do perhaps half an hour in each swim. Usually 10 or 15 minutes is enough to know whether you're going to get a bite or not, but with the river being a bit bigger, just gives an extra few minutes to explore the river a little bit. And fishing the very small rivers, it's usually one or two places to cast and swim, but in here, I can go out on the crease like I am. I could potentially go right across the other side, which I won't, but potentially go right across the other side under those trees. I've got the near side here, which looks like a deep slack. Got to mention as well, I do have some luncheon meat with me, which I may use. Decent water clarity, it might be able to trundle a bit of luncheon meat around in some swims. Could do with this wind dropping a bit. Well, nothing doing in there, so I think we shall move on. Probably giving it about 20 minutes, but those 20 minutes have made it clear. Nothing happening. Nothing at all. Right, on to the next. Well guys, nearly at the bottom of the stretch. We've done a few swims as you've seen. And I have not had so much as an inquiry. I'm hoping it changes when we get down here. And this is, we're almost at the place I fished in the last video actually. You saw that. Quite a big slack on the inside. It's sort of a little bit deeper here. A little bit wider. Some snags a little bit further down. I'm hoping there's perhaps some fish sitting around in here. That's my hope. I really hope. Unfortunately, he was sat in the wind here. He sort of come around the bend. It's much more exposed here. I'm going to get this tip down. Right. Pallet in there, it's kept it in the planks, but we've got it down now. Try a big lump of boilie paste first, I think. Nice and smelly. Put a bigger feeder on here as well. Right, that's a bit better. Nicer angle to the water. Right, let's see what we can do. I'm going to fish just on the edge of the current there. Hopefully we can tempt at least one more fish this season. It's a lot colder sat here, I have to say. The wind's not particularly blowing at the moment. It's a bit gusty, it's not blowing all the time. Well, it is blowing all the time, but it's not blowing hard all the time, fortunately. But it's just starting to get dark as well, as you can probably see. Just starting to lose the light. Hoping perhaps the fish are all sat in this slack, or there's some fish sat in this slack anyway. But it's been bizarrely quiet. Yeah, I'm sort of scratching my head thinking, why am I getting any bites, any knocks, if anything? Even on bread, but it suddenly occurred to me that perhaps, I mean, it's cold and the water's not very warm. I haven't done the temperature, but it's certainly not very warm. But it did occur to me that perhaps the fish had gone off to spawn, but it doesn't seem warm enough. But then in the edge, I've seen lots of fry, and they're this year's fry. So clearly some fish have spawned this year already. They were like half inch, 3/4 of an inch long. You know, sort of decent size, decent length, sort of this sort of length. So clearly some fish have spawned. They're certainly far too small to be last year's spawn. So I don't know, perhaps all the chub have cleared off to go and spawn. Who knows? But I know one thing, they don't seem to be here. We'll perhaps work this swim for half an hour or so, just see what happens. Put a bigger feeder on, a gripper feeder, a 2-ounce one on at the moment, but the larger size, just to get a little bit of bait into the swim, a little bit of ground bait. Put a few handfuls in as well, just to try and get some interest. There's literally no feed in this at all. going to try and get a little bit of smell in the water. Well, we've had a bite. I've just set my torch up. We've had a bite on a luminous cheese baster. Great. Very annoying that I missed it. But at least there's someone here who fancies a bit of food. Right, so I was just trying to set my torch. It's just starting to get dark. Right. Fantastic, right. Hopefully we can catch something. It's a positive sign anyway. Now we're in. Well, not sure what this is. I missed a few bites, but we finally hooked into something. I'm wondering if it's a brain, to be honest. The way it's coming in. Oh, just missed a chub. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Missed, as I say, missed 2 or 3 bites and got one in the end. Brilliant. Well, there we are, guys. No monster, but a nice fish, certainly. And if that does happen to be my last fish of the season, I'll be very happy with that. But I am going to give it a little bit longer. Perhaps another 10 or 15 minutes, just to see if we can't pick up one of his mates, assuming he wasn't on his own. Lovely job. Well, we're in again. It's just started raining. Literally 2 or 3 minutes since we put that other one back. Well, I say put him back, he's actually in the net down here, so he doesn't scare his mates off. I think that's possibly a wise move. Feels to have a little bit more weight to it, this one. Well, like buses. There we are, number 2. Literally 2 minutes later. A little bit smaller, this one. Still very, very welcome. As I say, his mate was just resting up in the net. Said I'd give it 10 minutes just with his mate in the net, just while so we could winkle another one out. Careful. And we've managed to. Fab. There's one. Pointing the wrong way, mate. There you go. Brilliant. Well guys, as you can see, it's chucking it down with the rain. I think it's definitely my hint to go home. It's got dark now as well, and there's no night fishing on this stretch, so it's curfew time anyway. But had that lovely brace of chub to finish the season. Was all the way through that session, no touches at all. I thought we're on for a blank here to finish the season and the session, but fortunately we managed to get those 2 chub out. Gave it another 5 or 10 minutes after caught that second one, but nothing doing. As I say, it's curfew time, so I'm not going to break the rules. I'm going to get off home, and yeah, enjoyed it in the end, despite the wind and the rain and the cold. But yeah, that's fishing, isn't it? So now on to the close season. I think for me it's going to be canals, some silverfish fishing and zander fishing on the canals, and there's a couple of pools within the local area of Stratford as well, which I have tickets for, so that's on the agenda for the close season. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling if you manage to get out. Thank you very much to the channel patrons, and I'll see you all again very soon.